Hello everyone. This is gonna be a very different video than usual. Most of what I make doesn't have commentary, and there's a reason why. Most, all of you don't really know me. I don't post much about myself. Y'all haven't really had a chance to really see who I am in personality. But I figured maybe I could make a video kind of explaining a little bit about myself. And pertaining to the title of this video, I'll mainly be talking about depression and my experience with it. Kinda how I deal with it. 'Cause depression is a very common thing that teens and even adults suffer through, and oftentimes they don't know how to cope with it immediately. Even long term, it can become a problem. With me, it's been ever since I became a teen, which with my family history really isn't surprising. But a little overview on it. Depression in my side is sort of like a void that I desperately try to fill in. Games help a lot. It's what I've known for a lot of my life. And so it has become a coping mechanism for sad thoughts, which are pretty much a guarantee with depression. Kinda to give a broader statement on how bad it is for me, there are a lot of times where I just can't get out of bed. And a lot of people have the misconception that it's just, sadness, you can deal with it, get up and do stuff. But what they don't realize is the energy it takes to get up is not there, and it comes very difficultly. So often I've been called lazy or, just not all there. Most of the time it's just because of my depression. And I've been told that physical activity can essentially nullify the effects that depression generally has, but I'm not a very active person as is. Just exercise and work regardless. When I do go to work, it is very difficult to maintain the will to stay at work. Oftentimes I want to just walk home because I just don't have it in me. And that's a byproduct of depression as well. You kind of lose all will to do anything. And oftentimes, for me, it's a hopelessness, and you pretty much deem yourself nothing in comparison to others. as such, you tend to think lowly of yourself to the point where you self-deprecate immensely, which can cause relationship problems and overall just isn't good for your health. You have to maintain a positive outlook on things, or else you just don't have it in you to really do anything. And if you don't have a positive outlook, life really isn't worth living if you don't have a positive outlook. So maintaining a good outlook on life is vital for those with depression, and I have struggled with that very much. It often feels like for me that life just, there is no good outcome no matter what. And I struggle with that a lot. I have trouble coping even with what skills I have learned. And I think that's a common theme in depression as well. Those with it, they have trouble coping no matter what they do. And it's hard. It's mentally difficult for the one suffering from depression. Oftentimes, suicide is a major byproduct of depression when it gets really bad. And I can honestly admit that I, on occasion, have thought of it, and have even done it twice, but I know that in the moment, and I've gotten a lot better, in the moment I tend to think about those I love the most. And sometimes it is both a curse and a blessing, because when you think about someone that you love, depending on what you were thinking before you think of them, can either be they are the source of why you're feeling so sad, or they can be the thing that pulls you out of the hole that is depression. For me, it is they pull me out, and a lot of times they cause me to feel it, either from circumstances that are out of my control, or just I'm having a hard time with them. Often, very often, I find that if I can't think of them, I'll think of my future. And if, for example, I have a girlfriend right now, and so if my family fails, me thinking about my family fails, I'll think about her and our future, and it pretty well gets me out every time, because I just can't lose her. And if I did end up succumbing to depression, then I would lose her, and that would be it for me. A lot of the time, when I'm feeling sad, she'll ask what's wrong, and something about depression that I've noticed is a lot of times you don't know why you're sad, you just suddenly get that way. And this can be very frustrating for people that are not feeling sad or depressed at that moment, and that just tends to make it feel even worse. So, when she asks, and I say, I don't know why I'm feeling sad, she often gets frustrated. But having gone through depression herself, and still is, she tends not to get as upset as others I have talked to about it. For the most part, she's understanding. But there are times where she just gets frustrated, and that just makes me feel worse. And when that happens, I typically try to talk to my family. Also, owning a cat's very beneficial, because my Grace is very much a sadness killer, you could say. She is a calico and is absolutely adorable. And despite her always wanting to get in a closet or, getting on tables, she brings joy to my life. And, I'll pet her, and that typically helps with coping. Sorry, this is new for me to talk about it to a generalized public. I will say that depression isn't as easy as people seem to think it is. It's not something you can just brush away or not think about. It is always there. It is always just complete, utter sadness. And oftentimes it's a feeling of hopelessness that you just don't know what to do. And it's a lot. Depression oftentimes makes me want to do things that I shouldn't do. For instance, I'm getting pretty well in becoming an adult legally. And it makes me want to drink, which it's not legal to do anyways for my age. But it makes me want to drink, and wine specifically. It doesn't matter what wine, just a glass of wine. And I don't do it, because I do have self-control over my depression. It's hard a lot of times, but I do. I've never thought of anything else but drinking. I don't like drugs at all of any kind, not even over the counter. But when I get like that, I know the best thing to do is to not drink, because drinking, it doesn't really solve anything. It just prolongs. And I can say that games do that too, but at the very least, you're not necessarily in danger endangering yourself or anyone else by playing a game. Where drinking, if you're doing it in a very unhealthy situation, like when you're sad with depression, you are more susceptible to doing wrong things, such as hurting yourself or someone else. And that's not good for any party involved. And so, while, yes, gaming is just an escape, it's one that doesn't have any risks, really. I mean, if y'all think of one, let me know. But as far as I can tell, and in my experience, it hasn't really done anything negative. But for this episode, I think that's where I'll leave off, because I'm doing this all essentially just on the back of my hand. I don't have any form or structure behind this, and so I think I'll leave y'all here. But my main message is, when you're feeling depressed, the best thing to do is to try to think of something that makes you happy and hold on to that feeling for dear life, because if you don't, you could go down a very bad rabbit hole, and that is something you do not want to do. And for those that don't have it, and all I have to say is y'all are very lucky. At least in that aspect, unless y'all have something else that is worse, or at least, having any physical or mental condition it sucks. It does. Often it's a very bad confidence just drainer. And it's bad. But the main thing to know is that you are not flawed in a way that you think you're not worth anything, or that your life has no meaning. Because life is with meaning, it's just one you don't know of yet. Do I know the meaning of life? Not really. I can only put attributes to life that is worth living for, such as, love and a potential family, just to name one. And secondly, I would say when you're feeling depressed, do something that brings you joy, or at least takes your mind off of it for a while. And that's my advice for coping. Take it or leave it, I guess, because it's y'all's lives. We're all human. This is just suggestion. This isn't me trying to say, oh, you have to do this, because you don't. For all you could listen to, you could literally just brush me off, and honestly, it wouldn't affect me. I would just say, I hope that you have a better way of coping. And I hope that your experience has led you to find something worth living for, when otherwise depression would bring you down to a point where you don't think living is worth anything anymore. And I'll probably post a suicide prevention hotline number in the description, because I know suicide is an ongoing problem among teens and adults. And so, I'll post that in the description. I hope this has given you a little insight into depression, and maybe you can take something from it. I know this is probably, it's not well done, not polished whatsoever, and not really all that great of a video, but that wasn't the point. And I've been trying to specifically focus on essentially making a point about depression and what people don't understand, and kind of a way to cope with it for those that do have it. So, I apologize for any, you know, for any boring or, you know, God. Just for it being bad as a video. I am new to this, and so I don't really know much of anything. I don't know how to make a great video, or a good thumbnail, or a good title, or whatever. Good content in general. But I do hope that y'all enjoy what I do make, and can on occasion find something in it that is worth, you know, just being happy with. Be content with you, because if you're not, then you're not gonna think well of yourself or of life, when life is, yes, it is very difficult, but it is also very worth living. And I highly encourage y'all to seek professional help, such as a therapist or a counselor. That's something that I used to do, and I've stopped doing it for my own reasons. I've had a bad experience once, but don't let that discourage y'all from seeking professional medical help. Other than that, I'll leave y'all off with this. And there's one final shout out that I'd like to make. I recently found a YouTuber that is very well known to the Minecraft community. His name's Technoblade, and I highly encourage y'all to go subscribe to him, because unfortunately he was taken from us, 3 years ago, I believe, from a cancer. And even though I didn't know this, I didn't personally have any experience with this very famous YouTuber who was a Bed Wars, PvP, Sky Wars master legend, essentially. He's inspired me deeply, and he has kind of given me an idea on what it is to live, and kind of how to look on the positive side of life, even when everything seems so bad and hopeless. It's a don't take things too seriously kind of channel. he never took anything really seriously. Besides his Great Potato War, which I find highly amusing. And I think, honestly, go subscribe, because he brought a lot of joy to millions of people. And they're still, they're still chanting his name, essentially. I mean, in CubeCraft servers, I have even on occasion said his famous, or the fans' famous, last lines, Technoblade never dies. And really, he doesn't. And it saddens me that he's not here now on Earth to, one, see his success, and two, inspire others to just laugh at the dumbest things, or even when things are serious, just laugh at it, because it's not really all that serious. Life is not meant to be taken seriously all the time. You have to have a balance with it. And that is something I am personally learning. And I hope y'all can too. I know y'all will. Anyways, I've taken enough of your time. I will let you go. Go enjoy some other dude's video, or a cat video if that's what you're into. I know I will. Subscribe if you care to. I'm not begging. Hit the notification so you can get, notifications on more videos that I do. And if you found this inspirational, or you gleaned anything useful from it. Anyways, I will see y'all later. Thank you for watching.